Welcome to a video entitled Configuring Offline Files. Now this is going to be a two-parter. In part one here, I'm going to talk to you about what offline files are, why they're so important, why they show up on these exams, and in part two, we'll jump out into Windows Server 2012 and show you how to configure these things. First of all, offline files are a functionality that was added quite a few versions ago in Windows Server, back when distributed networks and the internet was kind of a baby, and we were starting to have to deal with people who wanted to take laptops, especially back then, off-site, disconnected from the network, but they needed to access their files. So that's exactly what offline files does. It provides flexibility for mobile users, and guess what? All of our users now, most of the time, are mobile. Now don't let them trip you up here. This functionality has two different names for the exact same thing. If you're talking about it on the client side, it's called offline files. On the server side, this functionality is called client-side caching, or CSC. They're both the same thing. Now, how client-side caching works is this. A copy of shared data on the server can be set so that when the client accesses it, that a copy of it is cached or stored on the client computer. Then, when the client's not connected to the network, they can access that data, they can modify it, they can do whatever they want to with it without ever even noticing that they're not connected to the server. Then, when they reestablish connection to the server, those changes are synchronized and everybody's happy. Now, how do you make all this work? Well, to make client-side caching work, it's going to require some configuration on the server and on the client. Now keep in mind, different client-side operating systems have different synchronization options, but for the most part in the client side, you can just kind of go in, check one box, and it happens, and then past that you can drill in and make all kind of changes. Now there's one thing real interesting you need to watch for this on the exam. This whole prospect of client-side caching and offline files often gets coupled up with another technology called folder redirection. And folder redirection is a setting in group policy, and we'll talk about group policy a little bit later on in this course. But what we're going to do here with folder redirection is to redirect the end user's My Documents or documents, depending on what operating system they're running on the client side. We'll redirect all of those files to a different folder that is actually a server share. And then we'll ensure that all the data in that user's My Documents or documents then is set for client-side caching so that it gets synchronized to the server for backup. Now we've taken care of a lot of things. This user can always get to their My Documents. They can make changes. It's in the background. They don't even know it's happening. When they connect back to the server, their changes are synced back up, and all of their My Documents gets backed up at night with their automatic backup plans on the server side. It's a great, great configuration idea. So that's kind of the lowdown on configuring offline files. And in part two, like I said, we'll jump out into Windows Server 2012 and show you where to configure this.